The journey to Tor'Zag goes smoothly, and we collect the earnings from part of our cargo. I'm back to my initial investment, but with an extra pack animal compared to a decade ago. I take on another contract for Lumen, making sure to stock up on supplies before setting off again. Out of nowhere, strange winds began to rise, carrying an eerie sensation. They were different, as if whispered voices echoed within their breath. I managed to calm the members of my comitatus, and we pressed on. I can't help but be in awe of human craftsmanship when I see such architecture. The Julas Tower is gargantuan, visible from more than a kilometer away. As we approach Lumen, several reflections of the sun force me to close my eyes. The heat is scorching, and I understand why the city is built beneath the sands, shielding its inhabitants from the deadly temperatures and the unbearable glare reflected by the gigantic blue crystals. Despite Levantius' impatience to see his employer, I prioritize delivering my cargo first. Levantius guides me through the underground vaults of Lumen, down a slightly secluded street. On the large door, a piece of parchment is attached. Enter at your own peril.
That's just for keeping the undesirables away. Mistress Kandake entertains herself with some rather unorthodox experiments, true, but the greatest danger here is the harrowing effect her extraordinary messiness might have on more organized minds. You'll see.
As soon as I step inside, I can see that he was right. The interior is a veritable labyrinth of scrolls, books, slates, shelves, chests, workbenches, alembics, and other apparatus. Several drawing boards catch my eye, depicting anatomical parts of a dragon. I nearly jump as a pale, middle-aged woman, dressed entirely in white, suddenly appears before me.
Levantius, you're home?
That would be Mistress Kandake. An accurate observation, as always, Domina. I would supplement it, if I may, with the addendum that I am, in fact, 2 months early, thanks to a wholly esteemed contact at the Magistratum of Tax Collection. Not that I'd presume to bog you down with such minute details, I just thought it would be in order to inform you.
Good work, Levantius. Good work. And your guest? Also from the Magistratum?
No, Domina. This here is the wayfarer who was kind enough to escort me from Arkham. For a fee, as is usual.
Oh, yes, quite. Nice of you to bring back Levantius. He is so lost sometimes. I wonder how he'll manage when we're finally out there.
I catch a pouch full of coins in midair as Kandake tosses it to me.
Good that you mention it, Domina. It occurred to me while traveling with our new friend here that, inept as I am, it would be feasible to seek further assistance in our endeavors, for which a possible candidate is practically right at hand.
You mean to suggest to hire the Vagrus?
That was indeed the gist of my words, Domina.
It's rather unsettling to be talked about, as if you weren't in the room. But I won't complain about the prospect of additional work.
Of course, why not? Do you seek employment? I have coin.
I weigh the pouch she tossed me, pondering whether this is a good idea. What kind of employment?
Oh yes, good question. The sign of a keen mind. Very important in our line of work, about which I am currently not in the position to disclose too much. It's still on the planning phase, you see. But let's just say I am planning an expedition to one of the more inhospitable corners of our realms, for which I'll need supplies, equipment, and a few other things. some of which are not so easy to come by. And trusty Levantius can only do so much.
Even though it's very subtle, I can see Levantius's gaze shifting erratically.
So, are you interested in fetching me a few things as I make my plans and the need arises? For coin?
I am.
Wonderful. I am looking forward to work with you.
I know. The mistress tends to be preoccupied with less worldly matters, but don't let that deter you. She is brilliant, otherwise I would not suffer her whimsies. And wealthy, that of course is also an important factor. As for her work, right now we are in a bit of a disarray, but if you return sometime later, we will surely have some errands for you to run. If I can get her to focus, that is.
As I step out of the workshop, I can't help but wonder what I've gotten myself into. Unfortunately, my reputation with the houses in this city isn't strong enough, and no one wants to do business with me for fear of losing their cargo. So, I pull out my notes and realize that I can at least make my return trip to Tor'Zag's somewhat profitable by trading the region's crystals. I also make a note that once I have stronger affiliations with the houses, I'll bring a large shipment of pottery for a significant profit. I release my men for the day and decide to head to the tavern in the evening to gather some information. Inside, people from all corners of the Empire mingle. Vagri, mercenaries, laborers, prospectors, and travelers of all kinds, each sharing their stories. I manage to uncover a potential opportunity from a spice merchant who gives me the name Gravan, a man who lives and works at the Stonecutters Square. An infamous swindler named Maviro needs to be apprehended. Bringing criminals to justice can be quite profitable at times. Allowing myself a small indulgence, I order a crystal dust infusion. It feels good. I learned from the bartender that one of the bouncers of the establishment, a certain Harvek, is leaving the Blind Chakra and might be interested in joining a comitatus. He sits at a table near the wall of the common hall, surrounded by empty tankards, idly playing with a wicked-looking knife.
What you want?
He is a tall man, completely bald, yet the first thing I notice is his right arm, shaped like a scythe, along with his compound eyes and other insectoid features, clear signs of the Blight's corruption. Word has it you might be looking for work. I'm in need of resourceful people who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty.
You've piqued my interest, I give you that. Probably.
Suddenly, two burly men with malicious expressions abruptly interrupt Harvek.
Get up, fucker.
Harvek doesn't flinch in the slightest, and his expression is difficult to read due to his inhuman compound eyes.
Think we're afraid of you because we're in that slammer? I said.
Harvek lunges like lightning, striking the brute in the chest with his insect-like arm. A brutal fight erupts as another man, armed with a knife, joins the fray. Outnumbered 3-1, I settle into my chair and signal Gorgoro and Renkailon to stay out of it. We watch as Harvek defends himself. I won't risk my life, or that of my men unnecessarily. With vicious precision, he carves into his attackers. At times, it seems as though he might crumble under the force of their brutal punches, but he always bounces back, countering with stunning ferocity. He doesn't kill anyone, but he leaves them severely maimed.
He fights well.
He fights dirty, but his opponents are no better.
After a minute, he leans in closer to the first attacker, who is bleeding profusely.
Your carpenter buddies put up a much better fight.
I glance around and can almost feel the palpable disdain people have for Harvek.
We better leave, boss. These cravens won't do anything, but I don't want them to be around when we talk.
I leave a few coins on the table as payment and decide to follow him to another cafe, set under colorful awnings near the Mancio. The coffee is hot and delicious.
Sorry for the little scene back there, Vagrus. But that's done now. and I was beginning to get interested in your little presentation before those losers cut you off. I suppose an offer was about to follow. Or perhaps you wanted to ask some questions, eh? To judge old Harvek, if he's capable, if he can be trusted.
What about your past?
I suppose I owe you some kind of explanation. Long story short, I used to run with some gangs down south, in Port Navarum. I was nobody important, but I always got the job done. I was but a kid when they set me up for something I ain't done. I went to Purgatoria. You heard of the place, Vagrus? Not a pretty place, I tell you. I was there for 12 years. Anyway, I got out and started making a living from what I learned there. I got introduced to some Collegium members. That's all there is to know about the past. Lately, I thought it was a good idea to settle down and work here. It was a mistake. Nah, I'd rather keep moving. So your comitatus might be perfect for me.
Could you clarify your affiliation with the criminals?
I used to ruin with gangs, and was then initiated into syndicates. Collegia. I know people that know people. That may be to your advantage, should you ever require such assistance. If you're afraid that I will bit you in the ass, I can't give you any guarantees, but I can swear I'll keep my business out of yours. I ain't an active member or anything.
Why the brawl at the tavern?
That thing back there was unfortunate. I got here not long ago, started working at the Jacra, then got bored out of my skull, boss. Took a job for them Carpenters Guild boys, but they set me up and thought they could get away with it. So I had to retaliate. It didn't go well. Some died, and the Carpenters Guild is not known to forget such slights, though they will also remember to avoid messing with me in the future. So here we are. I can't stay. And anyhow, I was bored as fuck here. I'm more likely to join up with a crew like yours.
Why do you want to take to the road?
You mean apart from being tired of sitting on my ass and becoming unwanted here? All right. Might as well be honest about it. So, the thing is that this recent encounter opened my eyes to the fact that those who got me into that damned prison are still out and about, pulling strings. I might as well visit them and get some kind of payback. These people are all around the realms. I would not go out of my way to pay them a visit. But if I find one of them, I'll let you know, and we can talk about possibilities.
Such a man is both dangerous and intriguing. He needs me, and I need him. It's a give and take.
Will you have me in your comitatus, boss?
You're hired.
You won't regret it. You'll see. I'll get my gear, quick as a snake, and I'll meet you in the Mancio here in a moment. As far as I'm concerned, we can get on the road right away, boss.
Considering my latest investment, I take a detour to Acarus Quarry, hoping to find a delivery request for Tor'Zags. Nothing. Tonight, I strengthen my mind once again. I may be capable with a weapon, but as a Vagrus, my most powerful weapon is my mind. So I hone it with new knowledge. During the meal, one of my men approached me, clearly displeased by what he had to report. Part of our food supplies had been infested with worms. I followed him to the storage area and discovered several crates filled with tiny purple insects. Taking no chances, I ordered the contaminated supplies to be discarded immediately. I went to bed in a foul mood, frustrated by the loss. I took a big gamble, but this transaction yielded a solid profit. However, I realized that improving my relationships with the great houses is essential. I contemplate these alliances, studying the map for potential new horizons.